episode of the Business of Business podcast. I'm your host, Roy. Of course, we're the podcast that brings you a wide variety of guests that can speak to a diverse set of topics. Hopefully, we could shine the light on some things that you may not have thought about, or at the very least, if you have something that's keeping you up at night, we can provide you some information and some professionals to help you out. Our main goal is that, we want to see everybody successful. And today we're excited to have Ashleigh Chanel. She is your friendly virtual neighborhood marketing genie, here to make all of your marketing dreams come true. She's a world-traveling gadgets addict and expert digital marketer. She's also the CEO of Make Your Mark Digital Marketing Agency. She is passionate about helping women business owners to market profitable through innovation, creativity, action, and implementing strategic digital media strategies that transforms their businesses. Through her over a decade journey, she has consistently added monthly 5- and 6-figure revenue to her clients' top-line product, service, and local businesses alike. This is all done through organic and paid advertising. She positions her clients as authorities in their industries, gains the trust of their ideal audiences, and builds highly profitable businesses. Ashleigh, welcome to the show. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
Yeah, great. Yeah, we're excited to talk to you about getting into marketing and the authenticity aspect. But before we get there, tell us a little bit about your journey. Is marketing something that you just have always wanted to do? You're always in that, or has it kind of been one of those long and twisted roads getting here?
No, it has not been a long and twisted road. It has been a straight shot. My mom was in HR all my life, and she gave me those assessments, those like career assessments, and I took one, and we kind of figured, because I actually use my brain equally, like the left side and the right side. So I'm creative and I'm analytic. And we figured that, marketing would be a great opportunity for me. And I went, and my undergrad was in entrepreneurship and marketing. And then my MBA, I got my MBA in Italy. And that was a double concentration in global marketing, global finance. So wow. It was a straight shot.
Wow. And got to study in Italy too. How awesome
is
that? Well, I'm jealous. Well, we had a pre-show conversation, and, we want to talk a little bit about authenticity. And, you were saying that you've really seen a lot of changes from around 2018, 2019 coming into today. Can you tell us a little bit about, what you're seeing?
Yeah, I think because of COVID, because of the pandemic, because of the shutdown, everyone kind of lost connection. From, family, friends, and sometimes within themselves. But what I've noticed was that people were craving connection. They were craving authenticity. I even asked my audience, one of the questions, I sent them a survey, and I was like, one of the questions was, what is something that you cannot stand when it comes to marketing and marketers? And they said, they all say that, this can happen overnight, or it's one size fits all marketing. And I hate that, because they know it's not true. Right. Our buyers, our customers, our humans, they are not dumb. So if you're going to sell to them in a way that makes sense to them, sell to them in a way that connects with them, because what was going on in 2012, 2016, 2018, 19 is not going to fly now.
Right.
Because they're just over it. So
yeah. And there's an old saying that you have to be yourself because everybody else is taken. And sometimes I think that we miss that. We look at, there's so much stuff coming at us all the time, and we think, oh, look at this guy, what's he doing, and should I do that? And sometimes we just have to basically, we have to run our own race, stay in our own lane, do our own thing. And, kind of back to what you said too about one size fits all, is that's one thing I kind of warn prospective buyers about, is if somebody comes to you and says, I got, this plan has worked for everybody, it'll work for you. Typically a huge red flag, because they don't know who you are. They don't know what your product, your service, we have to have somebody that takes a lot of interest in that.
Yeah, it's such a red flag. You know, what's so important to me is integrity. And one of the things that I tell my clients is that I'm never going to do a rinse and repeat for you.
Yeah.
I'm always going to analyze, what are your clients saying? What do
Right.
your clients want? Because my job is to help your clients connect with you,
Right.
right? And to do one size fits all, to do the same strategy I did for one of my clients doesn't make sense for another one. Even if
Right.
you're in the same industry, even if you have the same business model, your audience is different, your messaging is different, and your like yourself, the
Yeah.
personality of your business is different. So using the same strategy across the board does not make sense.
Right. And let's talk a little bit about marketing as a long term strategy versus short term, and just that, it's a marathon and you have to. And I think it's interesting you say, you don't do the same things for, each and every client, but also as you get started down this path, you may need to tweak what you can't just say in January, this is our plan and this is what we're doing, but never really review what the results are that are coming from that.
Absolutely. Data driven marketing is extremely important.
Yeah.
Understanding what your clients are saying and what their actions are
Yeah.
is extremely important. I I think it's when you are looking at what your audience wants and what they're saying to you, you can absolutely tweak. In marketing, like you said, it's a marathon.
Yeah.
It is not a sprint. And what the marketing community, the online marketing community especially, has done, they have done a disservice to business owners everywhere, in my opinion, because they made it seem like this one thing can help you move forward, or
Right.
this one hack is going to transform your business.
Yeah.
But you have to look at what the data is saying. If, like for ads specifically, if you have ads running and somebody is clicking, but they're not buying, there could be a disconnect between your messaging from what you said in the ad versus what they see on the landing page. They could, your load speed for your page could be really slow and they're clicking out of it because who has time to wait, 0.03 seconds to wait for your
Right.
page to
Yeah,
load?
I'm in a hurry. I got to go.
Exactly. So looking at the data and making decisions based on, what is my data telling me? So if people aren't clicking on your ad, it could be your targeting, which means you may need to figure out some new targeting, or it could be your messaging. You may
Yeah.
not even be connecting with even the right audience. So these are things you have to look at and tweak. Don't tweak them all at the same time because then you'll never know what worked.
Right.
But you really have to pay attention to what the data is telling you.
Yeah, and you make a good point about the disconnect between the click throughs and what happens maybe once you get to your website. And it sounds very simplistic, but it's a step that is often overlooked, is to test your path through there, because there's nothing more off-putting as a consumer than to either be signing up for an email or trying to sign up for a product or whatever, and maybe the send button, it's not there.
It
It's
doesn't, yeah,
yeah, or
because the page wasn't optimized properly and it's like underneath
yeah.
the scroll, but you can't scroll and click at the same time. That has happened to me.
Yeah, you're reading my mind. Yeah, and it's just, and then that sets a bad tone for that person or that company. It's like, because I look at things this way, is that if you're not really interested in getting my business or getting my money, how interested are you going to be in me, for that follow up? And I think it's
Mhm.
so important that, we really have to give our prospects, or those that are in that between being a prospect and a client, we really have to give them a lot of attention to show them that we are interested, you are of value to us.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and we could talk. We were, talking a little bit about authenticity, and it's interesting because I hear a lot of times like, "Oh, this guy's got million followers or whatever," and I don't. But there's a lot that goes into that. Number one, we don't know how long they've been out there. But the other thing, I guess I saw this one thing. It's like, they show what I call train wrecks, or people having confrontations and things like that. And, unfortunately, people like to click on train wrecks and see what's
They
going to
do.
happen. But that doesn't translate to my business. I mean, I could go out and do a train wreck video of my own, but it's not going to, it will probably not attract people who are going to do business with me.
Right. or maybe not even the people you want to do business with.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so I think that gets back to, running our own race. What is good for us? And that's take that next step back is that this is why when you have somebody come in to help you with your marketing, they have got to ask these questions like, who are you? What do you want to try to attract here? Are we just attracting views? Is that our main thing? Because if it is different than trying to attract for a high price service, maybe.
Right. I know that there's a lot of disconnect, and I think the internet kind of makes you feel bad about yourself or your business
Yeah.
sometimes. And people think, because like initially a lot of people, and I've done it before when I first got started, you start doing what the gurus are doing,
Right.
and you don't pave your own way. And I realized that people started hiring me because they liked me. And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, then let me show my personality a little bit more, and like really enjoy what I'm doing. And because initially I just wanted my work to speak for itself. But to be honest, your work can't speak unless you do.
Right.
So I needed to get out there and I needed to show people who I was, what my values were, what mattered to me, and also letting them know what kind of clients I work with and who likes to work with me.
Yeah.
Because once I started being authentic, I started loving my clients.
Yeah.
Because initially I was working with people who they were the reasons why I have certain things in my contracts now.
Right. Right.
So just knowing, what you want out of life, what you want out of your business is going to, I feel like, catapult you into a direction that you're actually going to love, and into a business that puts life into you instead of sucks the life out of you.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And you make a great point about, your work speaking for itself, but people wanted to work with you because they really liked you. And it's so important. Like when we, I think, do pictures and do videos, write our stories, that we have to be authentic and tell our true story, because people tend to buy from people that they like, or people that they maybe see a little bit of themselves in. And so when we're trying to be somebody we're not, like you said, we will attract people that we really don't want to be doing business with.
Right. I was so scared to tell my story initially because I didn't have a rags to riches story.
Yeah.
Like, I grew up in a great neighborhood. I had a great childhood. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I didn't have, like, I haven't been homeless, So I was like, well, who's going to buy from me? Because I haven't, like, pulled myself up from the bootstraps or from the mud. And I was really self-conscious about that.
Right.
But when I realized that I have another story from corporate that I know so many people can relate to, and that I really have a vision and grand goals for myself that I know that people can relate to. And my goal is to help get them to their goals. So when I figured out that my story matters, that's when a lot of, like, I was just able to show up fully.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think you're right that sometimes even that's overdone, and because we really don't know if those other stories were true or not. But, it's like I'm the same way. I came from a great family, had a great childhood growing up, but, it's taught me lessons, just like, everybody's story has taught them lessons, how to relate to people. And, the other thing is listening, as you mentioned that earlier, but we really have to listen to our client, not only who are they, but who are they trying to reach? And, setting down, I guess, and trying to figure out that the avatar, who is that person that you're trying to reach out to with your product or service. Important for a lot of reasons. The messaging, if you're trying to reach somebody of my age versus, a 20-something, going to be a lot, the stimulus will be a lot different. The verbiage will be different. But, we have to really know, where is this messaging going?
Absolutely. I think the buyer persona or customer avatar, they're the same thing, is the foundation. And that's something else that I realized that the online marketing space has done everyone a disservice in. And they don't teach marketing, which was crazy to me. Right. When I finally realized, like, got over being starstruck and saying, "Oh my goodness, they're doing this, they're doing that." When I really took a step back and was like, "Ashleigh, you like in the marketing or in my entrepreneurship program, it was the number one entrepreneurship program in the country, and we had business owners and millionaires coming in every Tuesday doing lunch and learns, talking to us about things and showing us their business and how things worked. And I was like, Ashleigh, you know what you're doing. And all of this stuff was not rooted in marketing. It was rooted in hacks, and it was rooted in, I don't know, some of it was fear mongering, some of it was, do this because it worked for me. And I'm like, that's not how you run a business.
Yeah.
You have to have a foundation that's rooted in marketing. And the number one thing is knowing your audience, knowing not only what age they are, what their sexual orientation is, what their marital status is, like
Right.
those, okay. But sometimes those only matter if they matter. But
Right.
what really matters is what makes them buy. What is it? What do they value when it comes to buying your product or service?
Yeah.
What is it that's going to actually excite them? What are they freaking out about? What is worrying them day and night? And what goals do they want to achieve? What do they want their life to look like after they hire you or purchase your product or service? You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Right.
So that is so important. And once you know that, you'll never run out of content. You always know how to talk to your audience, and you'll always know how to reach them and where they are.
Right. Yeah, and talking about that, a guy told me a long time ago. The influencer to make the purchase may not be the same person that's taking the money out of their wallet, and that's another thing to
Absolutely.
think about. And this guy did he had a taekwondo studio for kids, and so what he, after advertising to the adults, because they're like, nah, the kids will never do it, not much traction. But when he shifted to running videos of kids breaking boards and all the cool stuff that they were doing, he said
Hmm.
it took some time, but the kids just wore the parents down like, I want to do this, I want to go do
Yeah.
this, and that's really when they picked up some traction.
Yeah. That's so important. Knowing who the influencers are as well. Um, and also knowing when to speak to them. So, I mean, I think that's awesome. I
Yeah.
mean, good, good job for him, because
Right.
a lot of people don't realize that sometimes, especially, like, what's interesting, going into this new era of having partnerships in your relationships
Mm-hmm.
and listening to children and allowing their opinions to matter. This is something that was not the case in my mom's generation. She raised me, and sometimes not even in mine, but she raised me in a way that she asked for my opinion, and my opinion actually mattered.
Yeah.
I know that I have a lot of friends who did not grow up like that, and I know a lot of people who did not grow up like that. But we're in a new era, and you have to pay attention to that. There are, Generation Z, they are challenging their parents and their
Right.
parents' thinking,
Yeah.
right? So when you are learning to market, that one of the things about being a marketer is that you can't be judgmental. You have to take what's fact. So
Right.
right now we know that Generation Zs are challenging their parents. How does that affect your marketing? How does that affect them showing up? And are they the influencer, or are they the one who can actually, purchase?
Right. Yeah, definitely. And that's something else, there used to be some good information on the different generations, kind of what they were about, what they wanted, and it's an interesting background to really think about that, not only for the communication part, but also for the, what do they need out of this? Because there's sometimes, well, we could talk about employment that, the younger generation now, they want the company to be more philanthropic,
Hmm.
having like environmental issues, or maybe they want some time off once every month, a few hours a month, to go work toward a charity or something that they really believe in. So it
Hmm.
again, it really affects our messaging. Another thing I think is important is that whether you bring this in house or whether you hire somebody from the outside like yourself, the business owner still really needs to be involved. There has to be communication back and forth for a lot of different reasons, but it's not just like, whew, I finally got somebody to do marketing. Now I can just not even think about that anymore. There still has to be, and I'll let you talk about, kind of what do you need from your client to actually help them be successful?
Yes. Oh my, I'm so happy you said that because I cannot work with people who do not want to be involved in their own business.
Right.
I can't work with them because they think that, okay, I'm going to toss it over to them and I don't have to do anything, which maybe if you're an enterprise, that is true. But when you are a smaller business or even a medium-sized business, you still need to be involved because you know your client better than anyone.
Yeah.
I mean, I do some in-depth research. Okay. I talk to their clients, and I do research on, their buying patterns and things like that and go deep into their financials and things like that. But you still know your client best. Your salespeople are the ones going out, or your front of house are the ones speaking to your clients. So
Yeah.
you still have to be involved in some way
Yeah.
to help shape um, and build a path to the goal that you're looking to build. I mean, and those who don't want to be involved, I don't think really understand business, or they don't take their business as seriously as I think that they should.
Yeah.
Because when I have stepped out of my business, things do not run the way that, or when I have stepped out of certain pieces of my marketing, things don't run the way that they should.
Right. Right.
And you have to be involved, and it has to matter to you.
Yeah, because I think there needs to be a lot of feedback, and this is where what I see a lot of times from sometimes even the smallest of companies, if they have one person marketing and one person selling, there's no communication, and so you start a plan, something is not right, the wrong people are calling me, but if I never communicate that, how can we ever tweak our plan? That's part of it is. If I used to do a lot of work in the senior living industry, and one example that I use there is like if you run marketing campaign and you get thousands of inquiries, that's awesome. But if they're all 20 something people with kids that, not your customer, not looking for a parent or grandparent, then it really doesn't matter. To me, the success is that if we can convert all these leads that we generate into actual clients, which takes some, back and forth to get that messaging just right.
Right. And marketing, no piece of marketing works by itself. You can run ads, but if that's all you're doing, ads are only there to generate leads. They are not there to sell for you. And that is a big misconception.
Right.
Your landing pages cannot work if nobody sees them. Yeah. You can't follow up with people if there's no one in your pipeline. Right. So all of these things cannot work by themselves. Marketing is a full and complete system. Right. So you have to know who your audience is, what your messaging is. One of my clients, we honed her messaging, and then after that, she started getting more clients because they aligned with the messaging that the new messaging, right? Because before she was speaking a little bit more generally. And when you're speaking to everyone, you are speaking to no one. I'm sure your audience has heard that before, but I mean, it's so true.
Right. Yeah. And we talked a little bit about we talked pre-show about vanity results. And I always like to bring this up because, there's a huge difference in I've got 1,000 likes versus what am I getting for business? And this kind of translates back to the train wreck stuff is that, I could do outrageous stuff to get views, but if those people are, now they may be thinking this guy's so crazy, I don't want to do business with him anyways. So, you have to be careful. And, like I've said before, is that you can, we go to this Mexican restaurant quite a bit, and I always tell, one time I went in there and they brought me the bill, and I gave them my Facebook page and said, well, can you just take it off these 1,000 likes that I have? And, they look at you like you're crazy. So there's a huge difference between getting some likes versus getting the dollars in the door.
Right. I would say always mind the business that pays you, and likes don't pay you. Likes are vanity metrics, and they may look good because I mean, I have a story where someone didn't hire me because I did not have a lot of followers. And he was like, well, how can you make me money if you don't have a lot of followers? And I was like, oh, sweetie, how sad that that's what you think is going to make you money instead of me knowing the fundamentals of marketing and getting you in front of your audience.
Yeah.
But which is also interesting. People don't want to pay money to make money.
Yeah.
And sometimes, you can start a business with little to no money, but typically you do have to spend a little bit of money to make money. But when it comes to vanity metrics, I don't have a lot of followers now on social media. It's not a priority for me to build my following, but I absolutely can make money
Right.
because of what I know about my clients and because I'm positioned properly and because I have a great front facing offer to get people in to my pipeline. And I know my conversion rates and I know all of these things about my business and my clients' business and what they inherently want,
Yeah.
which is to be able to do what they want, when they want, how they want. I can speak directly to that.
Yeah.
I know not all marketers have clients who want that. Some people say, some of my friends' clients say, the first thing that they say, I want to spend more time with my family. My clients don't say that, but it's involved in them doing what they want, when they want, how they want. But the first thing that they really just want the true freedom that building a business can give them.
Right.
But there are steps you have to take in order to scale your business to that point.
Yeah, and it gets back to the longevity and the marathon that this is kind of extreme, I know, but I can't give you $25 and say, "Can you just buy me a Facebook ad?" and then we're done. It
Right.
I mean, it takes a lot of it takes there used to be formulas that said if you want to increase it by this much, this is what your ad spend should be. But the I think the reality of this is that it's over time, because the first time I see you and your product or your service, if I'm not needing it, I'm just moving on. I don't even pay attention. But now I've seen you 10 times, 20 times, 30 times. Well, now today, guess what? I woke up this morning and I need what you're selling. And so you're top of mind because you've been there through this, period. And I think it's a misconception with the internet and with our short attention spans that, we think we can just throw a couple dollars out, run one ad and be like, whew, we've done our job marketing.
Millionaire.
Right, exactly.
It's so interesting because now, I know a lot of people know or have heard that it takes, 7 times for someone to buy from you, 7 to 9. And that's active selling, right?
Yeah.
That is like somebody coming to your house or calling you and, having a sales call with you and things like that. But on the internet, it takes upwards of 12 times for someone to even trust you.
Wow.
12 touch points.
Yeah.
So meaning them seeing an email, seeing an ad, watching a video, looking at your content, and up to 24 times for somebody to touch points for someone to buy from you.
Yeah.
So how are you reaching these people? Do you have the content out? And is it the content that makes you money? Because I have people who find me who have never heard of me before and book a call because I have all of my touch points available for them.
Yeah.
And my content speaks directly to them. So I don't need 5,000 people to like my video. I need 5 right people to watch my video. And so when you're talking about vanity metrics, like you said, vanity metrics, they don't pay bills. Your views don't pay bills. The only time your views and likes may pay bills is if you are an influencer. Yeah. Like your job is to partner with brands and give that brand awareness. But other than that, awareness doesn't typically pay the bills for most businesses. So what you need to do is get in front of the right audience and speak their language, speak to their problems or fears or goals or pain points and whatever challenges they have, so that when they like it, they're actually going to take action on it. Not, just having 1,000 likes and then nobody does anything with it because ew.
Right. Yeah. And I'm sure like, an all-inclusive strategy, you tell us what components of that typically look like? Because we may have one sector that performs better than others, but we really can't just ignore different parts of the marketing process.
Right. So what I say is I help my clients in a way where I build funnels for them. And a funnel is just a marketing and sales system. That's all a funnel is, because I know the word funnel kind of freaks people out sometimes, but it's just your sales process. It's just how you get someone from point high to point BUY by,
Yeah.
right? So them not knowing you and then buying from you. So the components of that are you need a traffic system, a conversion system, and a follow-up system. These are the only components that you need. And within those three components, there are many things. So your traffic system is your social media, which is organic, or you can use paid, which is like Facebook ads or Google ads or something like that. Then within your conversion system, you need a great front-facing offer. And what that looks like is some type of lead magnet, which does not necessarily have to be free. Your lead magnet is what engages them so that you can get some piece of information from them, whether it's your phone number or their phone number, their email address, messaging, like their messenger, some way to contact them outside of them looking at your page, right? So once you have your front-facing offer, whether it's something free or something paid, then you can move them in and figure out what is your ascension model. How are you going to get them from just giving you their, phone number or their email address to purchasing whatever it is that you want them to purchase?
Yeah.
So that's where your conversion system comes in, and you understanding what they want, what they need as your customer or potential customer, and making sure your messaging is on point. Because like you should always be paying attention to your messaging, always be paying attention to what your clients want. And then the last piece in your follow-up system can be retargeting ads. It can be your email. It can be your SMS, text message marketing. But all of these things only work together. They cannot work by themselves.
Yeah.
So if you have their phone numbers or their email address and you email them, but you don't send them anywhere because you don't have anywhere to send them, what is the point?
Exactly.
And then they're on top of mind when they first sign up, but then you go 3 months, because I have done it before. I have gone months without speaking to my audience, and it's kind of like cricket. So then you have to re-engage them or go find new people.
Right.
And that is, oh my goodness, it's annoying. And you have to start over. So in order to keep yourself from starting over, you have to stay engaged, and that's also where automation comes from.
Yeah, that's a hazard for us entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, people that we don't have large staffs. It's like you market, and then while you're fulfilling, it takes up all your time. So no marketing, and I think that's the best thing that people like yourself can do to help us is to show us how to level that out where we can have enough marketing to fulfill our needs and not get overwhelmed. Because what I was going to say after you talking through the system is that this is where great marketing advice can help you, because it's more about that I'm placing an ad or we're writing a blog or we're doing whatever. It's what is that follow up and what does that look like? Because do I need to have people in place? Do I have to have is it automated follow up? I need to have this already, we can't wait until we're like, holy smoke, this ad's doing awesome, or we're getting a lot of traction, but we're not doing anything with them. They've just fallen through the cracks. Because again, I've had that happen with more personal follow-up where you reach out to want to talk to somebody, nothing. And, I know today, COVID, I know we have some supply chain and staffing shortages, but, discounting that, this has happened long before COVID ever came around. People just not getting back with you. And this can be, this is something I think that has to be disclosed up front, is not all businesses fail because they don't have any business. Sometimes businesses can fail because they have too much business and they're not handling it in the right way, or they have too many inquiries or too many people wanting to do business. They don't handle it correct. And then the next thing you know, they're viral on the internet about how poor they are. And then it kills their traffic.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think getting your client fulfillment and your customer experience is so important. And again, all of this is marketing because we have all read either on Yelp or Google some awful and maybe sometimes hilarious reviews. And those things matter. Like the reviews matter, the way that you make someone feel about themselves, even though this is business, we are all humans. This is human to human every single time.
Yeah.
And when you remember that you are marketing to people who have feelings, who have things going on in their lives, who have, children, business struggles, whatever, you you can relate to them on a more human level and get them to trust you in a way that makes them comfortable and want to buy
Yeah.
from you.
Yeah, I know we're running short on time, but one thing just off of what you said is reviews. And people think that this doesn't happen, but it just happened the other day. I was looking at a thread where a lady just said, "Look, we had problems with this company. I'm trying to find somebody to reach out to because they won't return my calls or I can't talk to them about it." That was it. Simple to say, "I'm sorry to hear that, ma'am. I will reach out, however, let me know."
Hmm.
Oh no. This business, don't know if it was the business, somebody within it, how it happened, but this guy came back with this, you're the worst customer ever. And, I'm sure, your husband waited in the car because I'm sure he knew that you were going to be all crazy when you walked in
Oh my
here. And
gosh.
you're, something about it took so long too because your credit was terrible. I mean, they went
Whoa.
on, and it was, this lady had like three sentences, and this guy wrote like, ooh, can't see that. He wrote like this long response that was just terrible. I mean, and my opinion is if that's all you have to say, you're better off being quiet. But because
Absolutely.
problems happen in businesses, not going to say you're ever going to be 100% error free, but it's how we handle it. And I think people look at that. It's like if somebody would have just stepped up and say, "Hey, sorry, you're having getting trouble. I'll reach out. We'll work this out. I want to make you happy." That goes a long way to that next guy saying, "Well, look, they're at least trying to work with these people." But now they just showed what kind of a business they were to a whole lot of people out there. It was crazy.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's awful.
Yeah.
And I have seen some like that too. And I also, because I'm a marketer, I look at how companies do respond, and I love seeing the ones that are so gracious and so nice in their
Yeah.
response, even if people aren't so nice. And it's hard to do, and maybe it's not you who should leave the response.
Right.
Maybe it
Right.
should be you should get your friend to say something nicer, or a
Yeah.
different company to go through your reviews and respond. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
terrible.
because that, to me, that just backfires. They didn't make the lady look bad. There's no way that's going to happen. They just made themselves look bad. And
Hmm.
again, no response to me is better than a crazy one. And, we take like a match flicker and turn it into this huge flaming bonfire that was totally unnecessary.
Yeah, seriously.
Well, I appreciate you taking time out of your day. Before we get away, a couple questions. First off, what is a tool or a habit? What is something that you do every day that you feel adds a lot of value? Can be professional or personal.
My most the thing that I've done is self development.
Okay.
Knowing myself and being self aware has been one of the things that has tremendously helped me. I took this test. It's called the Kolbe assessment, Kolbe, and it told me that my follow through game was pretty weak. And I loved hearing that because it made me realize that, oh, this is why I'm quick start. I'm quick to start something, but I need someone else to implement, and then I can come back and make it beautiful, make it better.
Yeah.
But that showed me that I needed a team and that there was nothing wrong with me, because I was like, why do I start all of these things? And it takes me so long to finish. Why is that?
Yeah.
It's because I need someone else to intervene and help me do these things. So I need a team.
Yeah.
And so when I figured that out, I was like, oh, okay, well, let me do this. And I know for a lot of people, it might be a little difficult because you need cash flow to hire a team.
Right.
And so that's where all of the things that we were talking about earlier, the systems and the automation come in. But me having a team helped me to propel my business forward, because otherwise me thinking that there's something wrong with me
Right.
was hindering me, and it was low vibrational energy. And now that I know that, I'm like, okay, so I just need to hire somebody to do this, or hire
Yeah.
someone to do this, or outsource this piece. Maybe not a full-time member of the team, but someone who can help me do these things and get me over the hump so that I can make them as grand and as wonderful as they need to be. So I would
Yeah.
say self-development.
That's awesome. I think you make a good point is that those things aren't necessarily to point out our flaws, but they are to point out where we can take action to make those things better. And it doesn't, everybody is good at one thing or another, or better at one thing than they are others.
Mm-hmm.
So finding those pieces to plug in to help us be better across the spectrum, invaluable for sure.
Right. And it helped me hire better, because if I know that I'm a visionary, I can't hire another visionary who has low follow through game.
Right.
Right. So I need somebody who's great at implementation to take my vision, do something with it, and then I can come back and make it as amazing as it needs to be.
It's funny you say that because depending upon some of the way the responses are interviews, that's one thing I have to sometimes make clear is that I'm not looking for somebody to re-engineer this. I mean, I know in the beginning it's like I know what I want and what I need, and I'm trying to hire to that, not somebody to come in here and re-engineer the whole process where they can be the visionary. So that's funny.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's also when it comes to hiring, what I want your audience to know is that if someone's trying to do that, I think that's a red flag also.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. All right. Well, tell everybody, who do you like to work with? How can you help them? And of course, how can they reach out and get a hold of you?
Okay. I love to work with people who know that marketing is a process, who have something that has already worked. So you're selling a product or service and you know that it works. You're just looking to scale because you want that true freedom, and you want to be able to do what you want, when you want, how you want. That is my absolute goal, to help you get there. And you can contact me at the office at makeyourmarkconsulting.com. And that is a tribute to The Office, the show, because I wanted a fun email address that made me happy.
Okay. That's good. That's good.
And you can find me at Ashleigh Chanel on Instagram, or you can send me an email.
All right. Well, thank you again so much for your time. It's been a wonderful conversation, a lot of things to think about, a lot of great ideas as well. So y'all reach out to Ashleigh Chanel, let her help you get your marketing going, and that way you can have a little bit more of that free time to do some things that you want to do. That's going to do it for another episode of the Business of Business podcast. Of course, I am your host, Roy. You can find us at www.thebusinessofbusinesspodcast.com. We are on all the major podcast platforms: iTunes, Stitcher, Google, Spotify. If we're not on one that you listen to, reach out. I'd be glad to get it added so it'd make your listening easier. Also, we're on all the major social media platforms. We probably tend to hang out on Instagram a little bit more than others. Reach out. Be glad to interact with you there. You can also find a video of this interview when it goes live on our YouTube channel. So go check that out, and a lot of our other great guests. Until next time, take care of yourself and take care of your business.